RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, it's Thursday. This is April and we drinking.
This is your girl, Caroline.
Girl-line?
Girl-line. I think I hurt my neck saying that. I don't know what I said.
Did you say it on accident or purpose? I never know.
Sometimes I feel like I just had a stroke when I talk. Listen to this text message I got today. Dude, y'all's podcast is so fucking funny. I literally live for Thursdays. Good job. Y'all are so funny together. Best idea ever. I'm so happy y'all did this. I've given reviews and I try to interact with the SM. I don't know what SM. Y'all are going to be the next Crime Junkie.
Oh, I wish. We're a little different from Crime Junkie, but
maybe she meant like on that level.
Yes.
I was like, okay, boo, I'm gonna need you to come to the live show, the next live show we do, and tell all your friends. So that was fun. That was from Casey, by the way. A different Casey Turner.
Oh yeah. Hippodrome.
Yep.
She might not want you to say the whole name.
Well, too late.
What if she's wanted and now they're gonna be able to find her?
I didn't give her a location, so she's safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we also got a new review. This is not a 1-star review is how it's titled.
Wow.
Yes.
Look at us.
And it says, you ladies are freaking hilarious. Literally my new favorite podcast. I listen to y'all all day. I will be very sad when I finally catch up. So she's
girl,
like
don't
binging
be sad.
it.
Don't be sad.
Binging. Can I give y'all 10 stars? And she literally did. She put 10 stars on the review. 10 big yellow stars.
Oh my God.
This is Yuri GTZ. Thanks, Yuri.
I love April and Caroline. I look forward to Thursdays because of this podcast. They make you feel like you're there in the conversation. I even catch myself laughing out loud sometimes. They add in the perfect amount of comedy while telling a story so it isn't so dark. I love this podcast.
Yay. Who's that from?
It says she also did a 10-star rating.
What?
Did I read
What's the name? What's her title?
Ashley W.
Ashley. Thank you, Ashley.
Is that your friend?
That is friend. Yes. So listen, I taught her in elementary. She was at the live show, or I had her in elementary, and she's one of the best real estate agents in. Just why I'm homeless right now because she sold my house way too quickly.
Did we read this one from May 25th?
So only hire Ashley if you want to be homeless. Go ahead.
If you want to. So
yes.
Love listening. Did we read this one?
I don't know.
So much fun is the subject. It's from Kristen. It's complicated. Kristen _ it's complicated. That's what it's from. Love listening to April and Carolyn in the car or doing yard work. Learn a lot and get some much needed laugh therapy. Thanks for being awesome.
Yay.
Oh my
Thanks.
gosh.
It's complicated.
I can't believe we're that funny.
That we had 3 extra reviews.
I thought it was just me that thought that. But no, clearly. April, can I tell you about the latest update?
Let's tell them what we're drinking first because we always forget that.
Yeah, we do.
It's a very summery drink. This is usually my summer drink. So it is Bacardi coconuts with a little bit of pineapple juice. This is basically a breakfast drink.
I feel like
or a beach drink or a pool drink.
I feel like I'm at the pool at the beach
right
pool.
now. Yeah, it's very summery. So if you want a summer drink, then go ahead and mix that up because it's very good.
Yeah, it is very tasty and it's very refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel refreshed at the moment. We
Do
got
you feel like you're not sweating, even though we really are?
it actually has cooled me off.
Okay.
It's made my ears.
You're not as red.
If you ever watch the podcast on the YouTubes, you know that my hands are typically red and so are my ears and sometimes my nose. So I put my glasses on to hide my red nose, and then my ears are typically pretty small, so they're cute if they're red. But then my hands, they're big and they don't look cute. So it's just because we have to turn the air off, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, we'll be in a new place real soon.
So we have a missing white woman.
Here we go.
WW. But it's not what everybody's thinking.
Okay.
She's missing because she's a fugitive.
Ooh.
Listen, this is a love triangle gone wrong.
This
story happened in May, which I was not aware of because I was obviously on jury duty for Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Speaking of that. Speaking of that,
my prayer came true.
April, go ahead. Let's go ahead and tell it. We got to go ahead and get it out the way.
Well, and I haven't read anything about it, but what I've seen is that he's been offered a good amount of money.
$301 million.
To be Jack Sparrow again.
April, I do have to tell you.
I think I took it to the altar. Took it to altar prayer.
I just have to tell you.
What? He ain't gonna do it?
Fake news. What? Fake news.
Is it really?
Yep.
We'll see.
No, it is 100% fake news.
Did Johnny say it?
He hasn't confirmed it. He hasn't said anything about it. It's fake news. So
he's just not ready to announce it yet because he ain't signed on the line.
Fake news.
What?
I know. I knew you would be excited, and I knew that I would have to burst your bubble.
Podcast over.
But you know what? I'm still hoping that he's going to be in Beetlejuice. Let's talk about this every week. Literally.
We literally have.
But let's continue it until it happens.
Until whatever it happens.
I am not going to talk about it. Okay. So
Beetlejuice is a classic.
Anyways, back to my missing white woman who's just a fugitive. This was all happening in May, or it became in the news in May, and that's why I missed it because I was on jury duty.
Okay.
Clearly. So there was a development in the case literally yesterday. And then my sister Catherine sent me something about it, and I was like, why don't I know about this? And then I did my research, and it was on Nancy Grace episode, which I missed because I was in the trial.
What's the case?
Caitlin Armstrong. She is 34 years old. She's a realtor and a yoga instructor.
Mm-hmm.
She was accused of killing a cyclist, Mariah Wilson. Killed on May 11th. She flew from, because this was in Austin.
Yeah.
She flew from Austin to Houston to New York on May 13th.
They had the same boyfriend or something, right?
Mariah Wilson, she dated Caitlin's boyfriend, Colin Strickland.
Okay.
She dated that guy briefly, like a year before. And that they were like broken up, but they had recently dated. Well, then the Mariah girl reconnected with Colin, the boyfriend, on May 11th while they're in Austin. They like went swimming, they went to dinner, and while because I guess she had just come in town and they did all that while she came in town. Well, then Caitlin Armstrong arrived at the home that Mariah was staying at about a minute after Colin left the house. What? And he had actually lied to Caitlin about like his whereabouts. So I'm assuming she was like obviously watching.
Of course.
So she gets to that house, and the next thing you know, she goes missing. The Caitlin Armstrong girl is gone. This girl winds up dead, and they're like manhunt. They're like searching everywhere for her. And they're like, the last thing we know is that she was in New York in like the airport. Like, cause she had flown from Austin to Houston, then she flew from Houston to LaGuardia. And that's the last thing we had heard for a few weeks. They spent 54 days or something like that, 50 days looking for her. And guess what? They just captured her yesterday, and she's been arrested. Oh. She was staying in a hostel in Costa Rica.
Oh. Ooh.
U.S. Marshals had been tracking her for 50 days. They are in the process of getting her back to the U.S. right now. They said U.S. Marshals, FBI, and local law enforcement all together determined that she had secured a fraudulent passport. So it was a real passport of somebody else, okay? And that's how they tracked her to San Juan, Costa Rica.
Wow.
She had cut her hair. She dyed her hair. She had a bandage over her nose. She said she was in like a surfboard accident or something, whatever. But she was in, you have to like let go of your everybody and like completely just
be gone.
And they said she had recently sold her Jeep at a CarMax, and so she had like $12,000. So, and then she was apparently going around in Costa Rica to like yoga studios that probably to like get a job.
Oh, she was keeping her same schedule up, so they knew how to find her. Let's search the yoga studios.
I mean,
she tried. I mean, she's better than the prison guard lady that just went
Vicky.
to a hotel, a porn shop, and then
she just wanted to get,
they just went to Illinois. So I'm gonna give it to this girl. She at least left the country.
I mean, at least go to a country where you can't get extradited.
And she even stayed in a hostel because you usually like pay like $10 a night or something cash just to stay. So
she obviously was talking to people.
She was trying a little bit.
Well, in other news, the Gabby Petito Bryan Laundrie case is going to proceed. The judge has okayed it to proceed to go to the next level, which I guess we just wait and see if it goes to trial, but it's approved.
This judge wants to be famous too, so he's like, hell yeah, this is going to go. Oh yeah.
But I think if it does go, it's gonna it won't be for like a year.
Yeah.
But I'm here for it. I might be on the jury.
Wow, that was a good news update.
Yeah. And let's not forget
R. Kelly.
Oh.
So as of
baby
today,
in the closet. What's the song?
What? Let's sing it again.
Wanna pee on my mattress. What is it? I don't know. What's the song? R. Kelly's. I'm singing R. Kelly.
I know, but I don't remember one about peeing on the mattress.
You don't remember the song you're talking about peeing on people?
Sprinkle me.
No.
Sprinkle.
Sprinkle
I don't know.
Sprinkle your pee on me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, we can look that up. But R. Kelly got 30 years, and I have no idea. I never watched the series. I've never just looked into it. I just loved his music, and I just left it at that. With the little, okay.
With a little bubble gum.
But there's no peeing in a closet.
I'm gonna find the pee on the closet song.
Okay, I'm sure she'll interrupt in the middle of the story because she found it. So be ready for that, y'all.
Yep.
But R. Kelly, tell us what y'all think about that.
Well, what is it? What about it?
He got 30 freaking years. But from what I do know is he was the abused that became the abuser, and he did to his victims what was done to him. But obviously the jury did not give a shit because he got 30 years.
Oh. I'm sorry, R. Kelly.
Do you think they're going to seize his music?
I don't understand why, if this case happened so long ago, why did he just not get sentenced? I don't know, because also Ghislaine, whatever you want to call her, Maxwell, she got 20 years also.
Good.
But we're just waiting for the names. We're waiting for the names to be released of all the people who were involved. But this is what they're saying. This is what Bryan Enton was telling me. That some lady was talking to him and said that she's going to try to get to where she can go back to the UK and go and be in her like fancy jail up in there. But I don't know if they'll let her go. But they're like, why wouldn't she want to? Why wouldn't she release these names? Like, why wouldn't she just come out and tell these names? And he's like, because those are the people that are keeping her alive.
Yes. She knows she'll probably die.
Well, unfortunately, the song that I was thinking on is actually Dave Chappelle singing.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I want to pee on you.
Yes. I remember Dave Chappelle making
Piss
fun
on
of that.
you.
The same when you get a whiff of my Hershey stains.
I can't.
Oh, I love me some Dave Chappelle.
He had this big old water jug he was spraying everywhere. It was real funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I
He's the
guess that
best.
wasn't his song, but that was Dave Chappelle, which is just as good.
It's better.
April, what are we doing today?
So I have confession. I am on summer break, and you would think that
You would think she'd have time to do a story.
to
but...
get shit done, but you know what? I've been living my best life.
Oh.
Look at my tan line.
Oh, you about looking like
that
me.
white? Was I that white?
You should
before?
see my butt.
We should show everybody.
You should.
I've just been living my best life, and I've not had a computer open since the live show. Like since I had to write the story for this live show.
Where have you been living your best life?
Just not on a computer. I've just been at the lake. I've been at the pool. I've been binge watching shows. I've just had this freedom.
Well, I mean, I'm happy for you.
I know. But because I've been living my best life, I've not researched, but I do have a story ready. And this was a story that was done at the live show. So some of y'all have heard it. Most of y'all have not. So I'm going to take you guys to Clifton, Texas.
Here we go.
This is a wrongfully convicted story. And I haven't even reviewed it, so hopefully I know what I'm talking about.
I'm
All
sure
right.
you will.
Let's go down the road to Clifton, Texas. If you're not from Waco or the area, it's probably about a 25-minute drive from Waco. This guy's name is Joe D. Bryan. In my opinion, this is a wrongfully convicted. If you look up some wrongfully convicted podcasts, his name, like his story is one that's on there, but there's still a lot of people that don't think that he is innocent, think he's guilty. So let's tell you the story. So Joe and Mickey Bryan, Mickey was his wife, and they lived in Clifton, Texas together, and they lived their best wonderful life. Wife and life. He was a high school principal at Clifton ISD, and she was actually a 4th grade teacher at Clifton ISD. And when you have little bitty schools, like everything's in one building. So pre-K, elementary, junior high, and high school all in one building, but you have multiple principals over the different grade levels.
Oh, wow.
So because Clifton's a small town, like everybody knows everybody.
Yep.
Everybody knows everybody's business.
If you
They're all
sneeze, they know you
family.
sneezed.
Yeah,
Yep.
most of them have probably like had sex with each other just
Yep.
because there's only so many people
Yep.
to have. So it's Clifton. That's what it's about. Our small towns.
We went straight to the porn podcast.
Yeah.
We didn't even skip a beat.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's how we do
Clifton, small town, right?
Yeah.
Mickey was from Clifton, so she was born, raised, stayed there. And Joe is from E-Town, Elmont, right down the road from us. Where I'm residing right now, Elmont is real famous.
Did you almost get burnt on fire last week?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
That's good.
No.
Okay, well, there was a big fire, so.
It was big. It was everywhere. It was like Belmead. It
Wasn't close to you, though.
No, it was
Oh.
like way on the other side.
Oh, okay, good.
So they began dating in their late 20s, but they knew each other their whole, like since they were kids. And people would say that they were stuck at each other's hip.
Oh.
Like they didn't have kids. Mickey couldn't have kids. So like their kids at the school district were their kids. They took care of them like they were their kids. They would cook dinner every night together. So like they would both be in the kitchen cooking. Then after dinner, they would be seen walking hand to hand, holding hands
look
and
at
walking.
They are in love.
Like they were
Wow.
picture perfect is how people describe them.
Toenails are the same color.
So what happened? Oh
Oh my gosh, our toes almost match perfectly.
Same color.
Wow.
Look at my nails. Your nails. No, almost. I am loving your round tip.
Girl.
Never go back.
Never go back.
Never go back. Okay. Side note. Sorry. So now we're in October of 1985 because Joe had to leave for his principal's conference in Austin, Texas. This is something that principals have to go to every year. And Mickey wasn't a principal, so she stayed at home and she had to go to work. So Joe left, was in Austin. Mickey, the next morning, didn't show up to work. So her principal and her teachers were like, this is not like Mickey. She's usually here by 7-ish in the morning. Her classroom door was still like closed and locked. And so people were worried. The principal was so worried. The principal like went to Mickey's house and was like, oh, maybe she overslept. Maybe, I don't know, she had a flat. Let me go help. I know Joe's out of town.
Maybe she crashed in a ditch.
Maybe she crashed in a ditch. Like, you just don't know. Well, they showed up. The principal showed up. And the teachers actually ended up going during their conference. And when the teachers showed up, there were popos and ambulance everywhere. At the house, at Mickey and Joe's house. And what they had found is that Mickey Bryan had been shot and brutally murdered in her bedroom, in their master bedroom.
And he was out of town.
He was 130 miles away in Austin.
Okay.
And had been going to, like, there's conferences, like they start early in the morning and sometimes they go all day and there's lunches. And so one of his colleagues hears the news and pulls him aside while he's in Austin and tells him like the worst news you could hear. Joe, Mickey is dead. She's been murdered.
She's been murdered.
And so Joe was obviously distraught, devastated. So bad that somebody from Clifton had to come and drive down to Austin to pick him up to get him back because he was not drivable or not capable of driving.
He was just too distraught.
Crime scene was pretty horrific. Blood splatter was everywhere. And
was it like Kathleen?
It was like Kathleen's. And so I was,
by the way,
listening to something.
Did I mention my theory of Kathleen? Because I don't know if I did. Anyways.
Your theory of Kathleen?
Well, like of how he killed her from last week.
You talked, did you listen to your own episode today?
Yeah. And I wanted to be like, but I wanted to say this.
Okay, so what's your theory?
Well, that he he didn't use the fire stick, the fire poker, but he just like beat her head into the stairs. That's why she had all those gashes on her head.
You think so?
Yes.
No, I think it's the owl.
Oh, hell.
Somebody,
you do think it's the owl.
I don't know.
But how did she get inside? I mean,
the owl attacked her outside.
I know, but she was inside on the stairs and there was all the blood all over the whole stairs.
So if you watch the movie, they did a good reenactment
of the owl?
No. Well, I'm not that far yet.
Okay.
They did a good reenactment of her actually falling, like slipping, and how she hit her head and coughed up blood, and how, like, basically showed how all the blood would have ended up like everywhere. And I was like, this is real believable. Believable. Because the head trauma caused her to like bleed, and so she coughed it up, and that's how there's splatter here. Then she tried to get up,
slipped,
and it came out some more. Yeah, and like slipped. Like it was a good reenactment. I don't know.
But it was going from her walking. Like, how did she even fall?
She just was walking up the stairs and she slipped like on the third stair. Just like lost her footing and slipped.
And hit the back of her head?
Yeah, because she went backwards. And that wall was like right there. So she hit the wall.
Oh, because it was kind of a weird curved staircase.
Yeah.
That's still too much blood.
Listen, I was like, wait, there's 7 slashes in the head. There's talons, 3 talons here, 3 talons here. And then the 7th one is the beak. And I was like,
did you examine the picture?
It's the owl. until you look at the ex-wife's crime scene photos, and they're the exact same. So you couldn't have had
Ain't
an
no
Al
damn
in
Al in-
England.
And now a word from our sponsors.
RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.
911, what's your emergency?
Do you hear that? It's coming from the house.
It's coming from inside the house? Do you mean? Could it be?
The Poltergeist. New from Rogue Media. Two haunted hotties talking about haunted places. Every episode, we dive deep into the darkest places and give you a bit of history.
We're getting spooky in all the right places.
You've gobbled your last ghoul.
Follow along for the craziest and spookiest stories with Debbie's Dark Tourism. The Stanley Hotel,
Winchester House,
the Alamo,
Hotel Monte Vista,
and more spooky places. Find us at _Poltergals. POLTERGALS.
Look over your shoulder. It's us,
The Poltergals. Wherever you consume the podcast, you can find us there.
Hi, this is Sarah,
And I'm Carter.
and this is Some of Our Thoughts.
We're two Southern sommeliers, and we want to share everything we love and know about wine. We started hanging out during quarantine and cooking and drinking and listening to music, and we just thought this would be a great way to bring everything we know to you guys.
We will make wine knowledge and food pairings easy and approachable. So put on your favorite vinyl, grab your favorite glass of wine, tune into our show, and let's have some fun.
Wine and vinyl. So check us out on roguemedianetwork.com or wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'll be talking about a lot.
Welcome to One Star Rewind, a new podcast about those dreaded one-star reviews that every business owner hates to receive, but yet every customer loves to read. During this podcast, we will peel back that one-star review to better understand how it happened, when it happened, and what the business owner is doing after receiving that one-star review. This podcast will be about love, hate, and laughter. On One Star Rewind, we will meet with real business owners who will tell their stories and how they do rely on reviews for their business. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or download us at roguemedianetwork.com. Please subscribe, but only rate and review for not a one-star review. Join us each time for a new review and a new story.
Back to wherever we were in the
Whatever
story.
we were. Okay, so Crime scene was real crappy.
Yeah.
Like real bloody. And then, of course, news spread all over Clifton. And because it's a small town police department, they needed help because they weren't that experienced. Remember, a lady in our audience was from Clifton, and she was like, they're still not experienced. And so they called in the Texas Rangers to kind of come and help with this case. So what they had found is she was not raped, and there were no signs of forced entry. So when they had to get family permission to bust in, so it was actually her mom, Mickey's mom, that found her because they called the mom, was like, do you have a key? Do you have a key? The mom was like, do what you can to get in. So they had to force themselves in.
Yeah.
So no sign of forced entry. So they were like, could this be a burglary? Like, would the burglar have locked the door when they left? So,
wait, so how long had she been dead?
So this was back then where they can't look at the body and know how many hours or whatever.
That wasn't a part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or I guess, if you can tell the temperature of the body.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, like there was never, or I never saw like an actual time of death. Did this happen at midnight? Did this happen at 1:30?
Because I know with the Kathleen, they said she'd probably been dead for like 90 minutes to an hour before he even called 911, or like 2 hours before he called 911, because just like based on the blood was kind of dried and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're like, why did you wait so long to call? So if this, because he wasn't there,
so it could have been early that evening.
Or if he did it and then left, but I don't know. Anyway.
So they had also found that there was no forced entry, that there was jewelry missing, a watch and bracelet, and $1,000 that they kept in a tin under their bed, and then Joe's gun that they had used to kill rattlesnakes, because there were rattlesnakes bad in the area.
Yeah.
They'd also found a white pair of like jockey whitey-tighty underwear, jockey brand, in the trash can, and they had been ejaculated in, not like on,
but inside,
like
on the pee part, or the part that touches your pee pee.
So I'm picturing, whoever killed her, got off by the kill,
I guess, inside his pants while he's wearing them.
Yeah, but then why would you take them off and put them in the trash?
I don't know, but do they not track whose it is? I'll tell you, they threw it away.
This is 1985.
Yeah, but they could save it. That's how they caught the Golden State Killer.
Yes.
Or maybe not,
yes. I don't even know if it's still
familial
part of it.
DNA.
This is going to be issues that come up later.
Okay.
So there were also cigarette butts on the floor inside of the house, like in the kitchen. But Joe didn't smoke and Nikki didn't smoke.
Okay, well, this is obvious. It's somebody else. Okay.
So, so I would think that that's good evidence, right? The cigarette butt. 4 months before Nikki died. So, of course, the town of Clifton's going crazy. There was a policeman that was on the scene that convinced the other people on the scene that cigarette butt is not part of the crime scene, that he had actually accidentally brought that in from outside. It was on the bottom of his foot. So it's unrelated to the crime scene. So they never bagged that cigarette butt. Great job.
They were trying to say that a police officer had that stuck on the bottom of its foot, on the bottom of its shoe, and walked it into the house, and then it all of a sudden fell off in the house.
In the house after
it's a police officer. One of the officers is the murder.
So
and he's inside, so he's covering up all the evidence.
Yes.
Figured it out.
So 4 months before Nikki died, there was another murder in Clifton, and there's never any murders in Clifton. So it's kind of like Midlothian. Remember, Missy Beavers died, and then somebody else died, and the cops didn't know what to do because nobody ever dies. Well, this one was a murder of a 17-year-old sophomore in high school. And the only people that really die in these small towns are like meth addicts, right? Like
Or like drunk driving.
Drunk, yeah, or like a meth lab is blown up, or somebody overdoses. It's not like murders.
Yeah.
This little girl's name was Judy Whitley, and she wanted some snacks, so she walked to the local grocery store, which is a little small town grocery store, and she never came back home. They searched and searched, like the police panicked. They searched for her, and when they found her in a wooded area, like just a couple hundred yards away from the grocery store, and she was raped and murdered, and she had died by asphyxiation. So she was smothered, suffocated, something. Then a tip came in. So police were like, who did this? What's going on? Whatever. A tip came in to the police. And this tip said that Judy, the sophomore girl, had a diary that she might have been dating somebody that her family didn't know about, seeing somebody, and that she would have written about it in her diary that she kept at her grandmama's house.
Okay.
So tip came in. So what do you think's going to happen? Like, they want to go find this diary.
Yeah.
So they pull up to the grandma's house, and there was one cop already there on the scene, like he's about to go in, and then the house like blows up in flames.
Exploded?
Explodes like by like a bomb. It went off like Hiroshima.
Hiroshima. I'm the geography teacher.
Obviously.
So that's interesting.
That's very sus.
It's because that's the cop who was killing these people, and he blew up the house.
And think about it. The only person who knows about this person called in the tip, Judy, and then the police. There was a
crooked cop. We got a crooked cop.
And they're always a crooked cop. Mm-hmm. There was no arrests after this murder. And then...
Well, how'd the house blow up?
I don't know.
They didn't do an investigation? Because all you got to do is call the fire people, and they can be like, it was set on fire. It was explosive devices.
Right.
I mean, come on.
But they still can't find anybody. Like, that's not going to point it to a certain person. So Judy Whitley's murder is...
Was Grandma in the house?
No, I don't think anybody was in the house, because it didn't say anything about any casualties from this blow up. Okay. It was just so weird. Now Judy's murder is unsolved, and then 4 months later Mickey dies. So the family's like, could this be related? Is this unrelated?
Oh,
they die in totally different ways, right?
Yeah,
Judy was raped and asphyxiated, and
Mickey was shot.
Just shot, not raped.
Where was she shot?
In her body? I don't know what part of her body.
Because why was it so bloody? Maybe her head, and it exploded like the other lady you did from Houston? Barbie, Belinda?
Or Barbie. Her memory is so great.
Hey, listen, at least I got the facts.
Ginkgo biloba
I did take those. Not today, though. I've been taking them recent.
So now we got 2 murders. I'm going to introduce a guy named Charlie Blue. Boue. Remember we had talked about this at the live show.
Yeah.
Charlie Blue is Mickey's brother, and he comes to town because he's got to bury his sister, right? There's a funeral.
Yep.
He lived in Florida. He was this big business guy in Florida, and he was supposedly this successful, powerful person. But when he came into town, he didn't have a car because he had to fly in, and so he'd asked to borrow Joe's car while he was there so he could do his errands or whatever he needed. When he got there, he also called up a guy named Bud Saunders. Bud, this is his former friend, or his friend, but Bud was also a former FBI agent. And he was like, Bud, oh buddy, oh pal, I need you to investigate my sister's murder. Mm-hmm. And so Bud was like, for sure, I'm coming to town, let's drink some beer, we're going to go back roading. So that's what they're doing. It's what you do in small towns, the best time of your life, right? Mm-hmm. And they're back roading, and they're riding around, and the story is that they had to take a leak. So Bud had to pee. So they pull over on the side of a country road, and Bud peed. And when he peed, he accidentally stepped in some mud.
Oh.
So, sure, Joe has a towel in his trunk. So they open up Joe's trunk. Because remember, they're driving Joe's car.
Mm-hmm.
And in that trunk, while they're looking for a towel or a rag, they see a flashlight with brownish red speckles on the lens of the flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlie Blue's like, is that blood? And Bud Saunders is like, I think that's blood. So they go home and they call the police, and then the car's getting processed, right? Okay. So the car got processed, they searched it, and they grabbed that flashlight and they bagged it, and Charlie didn't say shit to Joe. He just drops the car off back at Joe's house and was like, peace, or wherever Joe was.
Yeah.
Gave it back to Joe and just said, peace out. So Charlie had the car for a total of 5 days. And during that 5 days is when the police found the flashlight. This flashlight with supposedly blood spatter on there. Joe got his car back, and Charlie's an asshole because there's no gas in it.
Rude.
So he's, real rude. So he's like, let me go get some gas. It's probably like 77 cents a gallon.
Oh, for sure.
But this is an old car to where you need to put some like fuel shit, like injector stuff in there before you put gas in it. Like it makes the gas go in there smoother. So it's basically like lube? Fuel lube.
Wow.
So he keeps the fuel lube in the trunk of the car. So Joe's going to the trunk of the car and he's getting this lube, and he's like, oh, there's the tin of money. I need to tell the police that it wasn't under my bed. Remember, there was $1,000 missing. Yeah. He was like, I forgot. They had went to town a couple weeks before, and they took that cash because they went shopping, and they spent some of the cash. So there was only $850 left. And so he was like, oh, I need to remember to tell the popos. So he did. He was like, let me put in this lube, let me put in the gas, and let me go to the police.
Yeah.
So he does, and he tells them. And remember, the cops had already gotten this flashlight that Joe had nothing about. Then he comes in and he was like, hey, I wanted to let y'all know that this $1,000 was not stolen.
It's been in my car the whole time.
It's been in my car because we went to Waco. And the cops were like,
actually, we actually have a flashlight with blood.
They did not think this story was believable, and they thought that he was hiding things by coming to him. It must have been opposite day.
Yeah, it must have been.
Because he was like coming forth, and they thought he was like being sneaky and hiding stuff. They thought, I don't know what they thought. Like, it just doesn't even make sense. So they think he's a liar. And so if Joe's lying about this, what else would he be lying about? Then the next day or so, the blood comes back, or they tested the
flashlight blood,
and it says that it is blood type O. Guess who has blood type O? Mickey. It's very common.
Well, maybe the brother does too.
Or the killer. Whoever. So this was like...
And that brother had the car for 5 days.
For 5 days. This car was not even in Joe's possession.
Why is he's just going to go turn it in? Listen, he was friends with the cop, and the cop was like, bro, like, no. And then they're like, oh, let's just put my blood on it and pretend it's hers and then turn it in.
And then let's,
And Joe's probably about to get arrested, like...
In a minute.
What? I don't know. What are you talking about?
So, also... Remember, this is 1985.
Yeah, I was born then.
So...
Best year ever.
Joe gets arrested.
Great.
Because there's blood type O. And he was like blindsided. He's mourning his wife, and he gets arrested for her murder. And the town was like, I can't believe Joe did it. Did he do it? I don't know. I can't believe it.
There.
And they were like, no way. He loved her. He loved her. She didn't do it. He did not kill her.
And what's the... Okay.
Until They find something else in this search.
You're right. It's all coming back to me.
They find a calendar
of naked boy.
It's a Chippendale calendar.
Oh,
Are they even naked in those? They just got on like ties and like
they're just showing their bulges.
Chaps, yeah, and their bulges. I don't know. It's not even. You could probably have a Chippendale calendar up on your classroom.
Oh, at this point, absolutely. If you don't,
it's not fair if you don't actually. So you should probably all have one.
You're gonna get fired if you don't have Chippendales and rainbows.
So so when they saw this calendar, they was like, Joe must be a homo. This is now Homo Joe.
Joe's a mo.
Joe's a mo. Joe is a mo. And back then, it was illegal to be gay.
I still don't understand that. It's illegal.
It was like you could get fined and arrested.
If you were like holding hands with
you could. So if people were gay, they were not coming out of the closet back then because it was against the law. So that was their motive. They were like, oh, we done found our motive. He is a very successful, respected principal. His wife must have found out he likes guys, and she was going to out him. And if she outed him, it would ruin his life, reputation, and he'd get arrested.
Well, this is the same as Michael Peterson.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I mean... He was sending emails and getting blowjobs from escorts.
Yeah. Yep. So Joe, though, didn't have any corroboration of him being gay. It was just like, so they asked Joe about the calendar, right?
Yeah.
And Joe was like, yes, I know. Me and Mickey bought that calendar together. It was a gag gift for one of their friends who was about to turn 50. And so that's what you do. Like when somebody turns 50, or back then is like you do gag gifts, like over the heel type gifts, funny gifts. They bought it as a joke. They didn't believe him. And so this is a motive. And then the people in Clifton are kind of like turning against him now. Because if you're gay, you must be a murderer. Right? I mean, that's obviously how they think. So, but let's talk about like if he was in Austin.
Okay.
So if he could have killed her, he would have had to drive from Austin. So 130, this is like a 2-hour drive. Like for us, it's an hour and a half. It'd be like an extra 30 minutes. There was like basically a monsoon. It was Hurricane Katrina in the area at that time. And so the rain was horrible from Austin to Clifton. So then you got to add that to the drive. So that makes the drive even longer. 2, the rain had this also like horrible fog. So then it made it harder to see. And then Joe had an macular degeneration. Eye issue to where
not a macular degeneration
to where he
don't tell me we got a macular degeneration.
It's exactly what he had. So how could he have
struggle with the same issue?
Listen, I got it right now because I think my contacts are on backwards or inside out or the wrong eye because
you're on like summer and you're living your best life.
I don't even know which eye is right and which one's not.
No.
So the trip would have taken him like a minimum 5 hours to get down there to get back.
Yeah.
But he was at his class conference like the next day, and it would have just been impossible for him to do that. He never drove at night.
He had macular
barely
degeneration.
drove because he had
macular degeneration.
Yeah. Let's say that 4 more times.
Okay, I will.
So there's his documented vision problem. Like it's not just like him saying, "Hey, I got MD."
Yeah.
It's like documented. Like the ophthalmologist confirmed it.
Macular degeneration.
So then, when shit hits the fan, who starts talking? Word gets around to the barflies and the Baptists. My mama's phone starts ringing off the hook. Everybody's talking, and they're like, if Joe killed Mickey,
then Joe obviously killed Judy.
Oh, hell. And they have a link because Judy was a high school student and Joe was a high school principal.
Oh my gosh. gosh. And then did you blow up Grandma's house too?
And
wow,
he must have blew
Joe,
up
you're
Grandmama's house because maybe Judy had something in there that would out Joe. So it's just, can you imagine how small town is talking?
I actually can.
While in jail, this is a little weird to me. Joe's trying to figure out, he's like, who could have done this? Who could have gotten inside of my house? Because remember, the door was locked. Who could have done this? Because he's like, it wasn't me. So he's trying to sit here and like try to make sense of this. And he remembers, because he stayed at the Hyatt in Austin. And he says he remembers that one of the nights he comes back to his room and there's this Hyatt worker in his blazer and his like got his name tag that says Jack Shaw. And Jack Shaw was like, hey, Joe, we're having some issues with people stealing, like our maids stealing. Would you mind leaving your wallet and your keys out on the dresser? Because we think we've narrowed it down. So if anything goes missing, then we know who it is.
Okay.
But we can guarantee that, you'll get your stuff back. And so Joe was like, sure, I'll leave my wallet and my keys out when I go to my conferences or go to sleep or wherever it was. Well, he was like, could this Jack Shaw have made a copy of my key? Like, is that the key to my car, the key to my house? And is that how they might have gotten into the house? Like, he was just wondering and wondering and wondering. So he was like, let me call Hyatt. And he tells the police, call Hyatt. Well, you need to question Jack Shaw. And guess what?
Jack Shaw's dead.
Jack Shaw does not exist. There's no worker at the Hyatt named Jack Shaw. There was no
I don't remember this from my life.
No anything about maids stealing from so this story was either made up by somebody else to get him to leave his stuff, or Joe made the story up. This is like the part of the story where I was like, where did this come from?
Yeah,
why would you make this up?
I know.
Like, this doesn't help you at all. So it had to happen. Like, that's not a lie that I would make up to make people think that I'm innocent. I would have thought of something a little bit better, which makes me think it had to have happened. But who the fuck is Jack Shaw? Is Jack Shaw actually Bud Saunders, the FBI friend of Charlie Blue? I don't know. So, Jack Shaw didn't exist. And so he's in jail and it's time for the trial. And his lawyer was like, we probably need to go on and take this out of Clifton because they obviously
everybody knows
it's going to turn against you, and you might not want to be tried, but you might not want them to be your jury. And so Joe was just adamant. He was like, no, these are my people. These are my friends. They love me. They know me and Mickey more than anybody. Oh, no. I want my jury of peers to hear the story. And so he kept it there. And so his Clifton people were his jury people.
Well, and they put him right in jail.
The good thing is 36 people testified on his behalf.
36?
Yes. There's only like 47 people in Clifton.
so that's the whole town.
Basically the whole town put on their Sunday's best, and they testified for Joe and just about how much what him and Mickey's marriage was like. And then they had somebody else testify, and this was the cop guy, investigator that
stepped on a cigarette.
It wasn't him. It was another guy that went to basically Grand Canyon University and did an online blood spatter certification in 4 hours. Sorry, nothing against Grand Canyon University, but basically did
commercials on it.
No, basically did a 20 or 30 hour course that made him a blood spatter expert, and so he is the one who testified on the blood spatter and said that that was blood on the flashlight, and that the killer who had the gun had the flashlight in one hand and the gun in the other hand and shot, and that's how the blood ended back on the flashlight.
Wow, good job.
Yeah. But this was like this big ass gun that you needed 2 hands to even carry.
Yeah, do we have the gun? Like, where's all that?
I forgot. Yeah, they have it. It was missing, actually. They never had the gun. But the bullet matched the gun that he had in his house to kill rattlesnakes. But it was missing, so they never had the gun.
Oh, well.
Also, why in the hell would Joe need a flashlight in his own house? It's his house.
Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Like, what?
He wouldn't. All he's got to do is turn on light. He knows where to go. So if that is blood and somebody needed a flashlight, they obviously don't know how to maneuver around the house.
Yeah.
If that is the case.
Crooked cop.
Also, it came up in court that there was a $300,000 life insurance policy. There's always a life insurance policy.
Always is.
Out on Mickey, and that was Joe's motivation. Even though they didn't have any money problems. Yeah, they didn't have any money problems. But this was like icing on the cake is that, she found out I'm gay. Let me go on and kill her and get this $300,000 policy. Jury came back and he is
guilty.
All the way guilty. And of course, Joe's like, let's file an appeal because this isn't right. I did not kill my wife. So they did. And he was like, that $300 life insurance that's not the truth. There was $300,000 together. So
150
and 150 and 150. So just by that being a lie, that was a technicality. And so the whole thing was overturned. And he got out of jail. So he was out of jail for a little bit. Yeah, he was overturned and he was released like immediately.
How long was he in there then?
I think this was 8 years.
Jeez.
He was there for a while.
Is this like a what kind of jail is it? It's like is it Gatesville? I mean, that's where the women go, right?
I don't remember where he was, but he's always been in
jail.
Texas. He's been in Texas this whole time. Probably Kerrville. And they're prison in Kerrville, State Hospital.
It's in Gatesville.
He's been in Texas. Maybe it was Gatesville.
I thought that was a women's jail.
I thought it was both.
Oh, well, we're so smart.
Yeah, I don't know.
Good thing we're here.
Maybe he was in. Good thing.
Maybe they had their own jail in Clifton and he was there.
It's Clifton jail. He's in Clifton County Jail.
Maybe he was in Facebook or Instagram jail. I don't know.
So he was released on the technicality. But of course, there's still a murder, so he's got to have another trial.
What if he did the Alfred plea like Michael Peterson?
Did it exist?
I don't know, but I just saw literally the other day, somebody else I read about doing an Alfred plea, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody's doing Alfred plea. Michael Peterson, Alfred plea. Oh my gosh.
But remember how I said that he could have gotten out, he would have these parole hearings. If he would have just said, I did it and I'm sorry, he would have been able to get out.
That's what it, yes.
Right. But
you have to say that you're guilty.
And that he refused to. He said, I would die and rot in prison before I say I killed my wife and I didn't. So that's what kind of made me think, well, maybe Michael Peterson is guilty.
Oh, for sure.
Because he could fix his mouth to say that. But I would probably, just to be free, I would probably say it too. Stay in jail and keep your integrity, or get out, be free, and some people think you're a liar or a killer. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. But so they have a second trial.
It depends on how bad the jail is.
Yeah.
If you got friends and you're like, okay, I'm living my life.
Michael Peterson probably liked it because he probably got all the penis ever.
So why did he want to get out?
So at this trial, it was basically the same trial, but a little bit worse. He had the same judge, different jury, but all those people, remember those 36 people in Clifton that testified for him? They did not anymore because it'd been so long, and they're basically thought he was a murderer.
Yeah.
So they didn't want anything to do with that. You gonna top yourself off?
Maybe.
So then the jury came back with another guilty verdict, and he goes back to jail. So now he's been tried and guilty twice for the murder of his wife. And then you got the Whitley family, right? So Judy, Whitley's family is like, wait a minute, we don't got no justice. Town folk are like, well, if Joe did do it, then how come we can't try Judy's murder or whatever?
Maybe.
The family never thought that he did it. So the family, they were desperate and they were like, let me call Unsolved Mysteries because it is unsolved. And this is like years and years later. Yeah, it is a mystery. And so because of that, the case got opened up again. And now there's a new cop on Whitley's case. This is when we start getting a little bit of more answers. This new cop realizes that there was a suspect. So he's looking through the files and he was like, oh, there's a suspect? Who is the suspect? The suspect was a man named Dennis Dunlop. He was a cop. He worked for Clifton PD. He was a chain smoker. And he was also that cop that was on the scene when the house burnt up. I'm trying to tell you. Everything to me is just like lining up. Clearly. And he also injected himself in Judy and Mickey's murder investigation, which is always a red flag.
And he blew up the house.
Blew up the house, obviously.
And he did not have macular degeneration.
He did not, so he could have drove all he wanted. He also had a link to Judy because he went on a date with Judy's sister. And Judy's sister said she got freaked out and left the date because it was at his house. And he had pictures of women like he was BDSM. He was the kink. Mm-hmm. LGBTQIAPK. K is the kink. There was like pictures of women in bondage on the walls, and she was like, oh no, let me go. And she never talked to him again.
Oh, yeah.
He was also known for like being a pervert in the town, and he would like verbally assault like women, and also would get overly obsessive with women.
Okay.
So he had a lot of like weird allegations.
Yeah.
And then having a connection to Whitley and being a suspect, they gave him a lie detector test back then.
Well.
But he passed it. I'm sure he knows how. Anybody could.
All you gotta do is step on a nail.
Step on a nail, according to Dirty Chad.
Yep.
And so because they had nothing for him, they were like, they had nothing on him. They were like, well, you just need to leave town. Like, you're fired. Leave town. And so they sent a possible killer away. And I don't know actually where he went. But now it's 10 years since they've both died. And it's 1996. And Dennis Dunlop, the cop, kills himself.
Suicide. No.
Commit suicide. I don't even remember how. Probably by gun. It's usually how men do it. Ooh, excuse me. And remember, the case had been kind of open. And so this cop was talking to Dunlop's ex-wife, Dunlop. And she says that he admitted that he had sex with Judy Whitley and that he killed her. What I found out after the last show is that Judy Whitley was probably what we call now intellectually disabled. Remember me saying she was a 17-year-old sophomore?
No.
She was a 17-year-old sophomore in high school. So that's real old to be a sophomore. So then I was thinking, all you educators are like, oh, well, she was behind on some credits or something. Or maybe she had been held back a couple of times. So it came out after the show that she had she was a little bit, for the lack of better terms, like slower.
Yeah.
Maybe had some disabilities and so he admitted that he had sex with her and killed her. And he gave details that only the murderer would know. What? And then also admitted to his ex-wife and his friend that he was in a relationship with Mickey Bryan.
Okay.
And that he was with her the night that she was murdered.
'Cause you murdered her.
Avi. And then...
When did he tell this to people?
He told his wife like before he committed suicide. That's why I'm like, why don't people just why didn't anybody say anything before?
Well, that's why did the laundries not say anything about Bryan and Gabby?
And maybe it's the same reasoning behind both. Like not everybody's going to be a snitch.
Snitches get stitches and wind up in ditches. Okay. But you know what? Sometimes you got to be a snitch.
Sometimes you got to. Well, and then in 1999, they announced Judy Whitley's killer as Dennis Dunlap. But he was already dead. But at least
and he admitted that he was friends with Mickey and was there the night that she died. And then Joe's still in jail.
That's what Joe's family's like. Joe's family's like, okay. Well, what about the second half of this supposed confession?
It's pissing me off.
And he's sitting in prison and is probably innocent. So they go and hire a real famous guy in Waco, Texas. We've had him on the podcast named Walter Skip Reeves. Do you remember this?
Hey, of course.
Sup, Walter? And this is now 2013. Here's what's crazy. The family know nothing about Dennis Dunlap's supposed confession for like 10 years. What? Yeah, so he's just spent an extra 10 years in prison. And they're like, oh, we knew about this in 1996. Why is it 2013? And we're just finding out. So they hire Walter Skip Reeves and his badass, beautiful intern named Jesse Freud. And y'all know him from West, and because he's Catholic, and because he defended David Wayne Spitz and Kenneth McDuff and everybody. But he also does innocent project type cases, and he does those appeals to get the innocent men out of or women out of prison. And so Reeves was like, okay, let's run a DNA on this supposed flashlight blood splatter, right?
Duh.
I would have been like, where's the underwears? Where's the cigarette butt? Where's all this thing? And I'd asked Walter Reeves when he came to my book club, I was like, where's the cigarette butt? And he was like, oh, that was never bagged. That was one of the police. And so, but I never asked about the underwear.
I know. You would think that they would have that.
Keep it, yeah. Unless
that
Dennis Dunlap got rid of it. So he was like, run a new DNA. And the DNA test came back and it was not, one speckle was inconclusive and the other one was not even blood.
It was mud.
There's no telling what it was.
It was ketchup.
It was ketchup. It was not even human blood. So Reeves and Freud are like, a judge needs to hear this. Let's go to the judge to see if they can get him out, get him to trial or something. So they go to the judge and they're like, he was convicted on this blood and it's not blood. And the person who said it was blood went to Grand Canyon University and got a blood
splatter degree.
It's not a real one. And that the science that we use is actually fake science, has been debunked since then.
Yeah.
And even the guy that did it wrote a letter and said, sorry, I did it wrong. Screwed up. It was my very first one. So he graduated and the next day he thought he was good enough to like put somebody in jail.
No.
Behind something he didn't know how to do. So all of that, and the judge should have been like, release him.
100%.
But judge says, sorry, it's not enough.
It's not enough. What else do you need?
They also brought up Dennis Dunlap, and they were like, here's this video of Dennis' wife saying that he confessed to being with Mickey, and nope, not enough. And so he was like, it should have been vacated, but the judge ruled not enough evidence to overturn the conviction. And then so Joe actually came up for parole, and he was denied parole.
Oh my gosh. Why did they hate him so much?
Oh, it was the worst. But Joe made the best of his life in prison and kept it's faith. The only way he got through it was his faith. So while in prison, he played the piano for the prison church, and he tutored the inmates and helped them get their GED. So he's still being an educator. And he played church. He played at his church in Clifton. Very good at playing the piano. And so he was using his gifts even if it was in prison. He was denied parole 7 times the whole time he was in there.
Oh my God. What was his original sentence? Like 30 years or
life.
Oh.
Life.
Without, I guess it was with the possibility.
With the possibility of parole. But he was never going to admit that he killed her because he didn't. So this story was on the Innocence Project. Remember I told you that? Mm-hmm. John Grisham, the author, came across this story and he was like, are you kidding me? This is the 2000s. We should be doing better than this. And so he wrote a book called The Guardians. It's a great book. And inspired by Joe's story. It's a couple other like Innocent Project stories. But Joe Bryan's mentioned in the back of it.
But Kim Kardashian didn't do anything with it.
No.
No, okay.
She hadn't passed the bar yet.
Okay. All right.
Joe was in jail for 7 more years. So they tried it in 2013. 7 more years he was
2020
in jail.
then.
Yes. He had one more parole hearing. This time his parole hearing lawyers were like, you know what? Let's just give it all we got. And John Grisham even advocated for him. And they go to the parole board or judge or whatever it is. And they were like, you have an innocent man in jail. Here's the evidence. This judge was an idiot and did not.
Oh, they got a new judge now?
He was the judge that they tried to get it to overturn. Remember, said it's not enough evidence. So they were like, this judge is an idiot, but you guys, this parole board, y'all can do better. You can keep this innocent man in jail or you can do the right thing because you have the chance to do the right thing. So they presented all that new evidence. And after being in jail for guess how long?
Like 50 years.
Damn near. 35 years in March of 2020, he was granted parole in the middle of a pandemic. Like we had literally just shut down.
They were probably trying to release people anyway at that point. They were.
Yeah. So we don't know, like, was he released for COVID, which they were doing? Was he released because he was old? He was like 80. No, he was 79 years old at the time. He had congestive heart failure. He was very unhealthy, but his spirit was still very bright.
Well, good for you, because I would have been like, what a waste.
I would have been like, just gone and keep me in here. Hell.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
If you watch, you can like look for videos of him being paroled on the news, and it will bring you to tears because his family, the Bryan family, and some of his friends and like his lawyers had balloons and a cake, and they just cheered for him. And he came out in such spirits, but he is his age. He went in like when he was our age, and stayed in there till 79 years old. So he is now living in Elmont, right down the road, and he still plays the piano.
Should we have him on the podcast?
Let's get him on the podcast. He still has his faith.
I'm gonna find him on Facebook.
It's fine. He still has his faith, and he got to celebrate his first birthday out of jail in 35 years. So they did it all for him, and he talks about that. If you go listen to the Wrongfully Convicted podcast.
Like, where do you go? Like you go to like somebody else's house?
His brother and his wife had a house for him, or let them stay with his house.
Especially if you don't have kids, like
you don't have kids. Your house that you and your wife bought was probably sold, and whoever got the money, hopefully somebody put some money on your books. But everything, his life was how he knew it was gone, and he had to go live with his brother and his sister-in-law.
Yeah, because where else would I mean...
When you watch videos on him and he talks about Mickey, he still tears up and like has a lump in his throat till this day.
Oh my gosh.
And what is so sad to me is Mickey's family still thinks he's guilty and a murderer.
Oh no. Mickey's family?
His wife's family thinks that Joe is a very dangerous murderer. Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to need to talk to Mickey's family because, I mean, we don't think that.
Yeah. There's still a lot of people in Clifton that think so.
Okay, well, I'm going to need to know your reasons.
Why? Oh, their reasons. Yeah.
Because to me, it sounds like the crooked cop dentist did the whole thing.
Yes, but I think the reason is
because they think because he was gay or he was having a little.
I think he is. So if you're lying about being gay, still right now, if you go watch them, you'll be like, oh yeah. Remember we had Andrew. Yeah. I was like, Andrew, go watch some of these videos. Tell if he's gay. If he's gay,
he's like, oh yeah, you're gay.
But that doesn't make you a murderer. So I think it's still like closed-minded people that are like, if you're lying about that, then maybe you're lying about kind of whole, like still like Michael Peterson.
Yeah.
What else is so sad is that he is free, but he's not exonerated. He's still a murderer. So he has an ankle bracelet on his ankle, and he still has to check in with his parole officers. He's free, but he's still a convicted murderer.
So what if like you say, okay, I did it, and then you do the Alfred plea? Are you free with no ankle monitor? Like, is Michael Peterson free with no ankle monitor?
I think so.
Well, how does this make any sense? I don't know. You know, we have a really good judicial system.
It was so great. It's so great. I think, of course, Dennis Dunlop is guilty, but I also think there's something real sus about brother Charlie Blue.
Clearly.
Real. And so I was asking at the show, our Clifton lady, who got that $150,000 because the murderer, Joe, who was convicted of murder,
didn't get it.
The
brother got it.
Got it. Supposedly, the town folk say the brother got it.
Well,
so could have that been?
I mean, was he needing money? I don't know.
I don't know. I just think he's sus.
I'm going to have to watch this guy talk now, so.
Yeah. Go watch videos of him. There's a great 2020 episode about it. It'll make you cry.
Well,
I told my mom to invite Joe Bryan to her church in Elmont.
Well, I'm sure he'll go.
He should.
Okay, well.
He's a great piano player.
Let her get a picture.
So there it is. Wrongfully convicted.
Well, there
First
we
story
go.
of July. Sorry if you've heard it. Or not sorry.
Yeah, we had a little spice to it, so.
All right. So, Caroline, do you know what we're going to talk about next week?
No, absolutely not.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I do have a little bit of inspiration, unlike you.
I know who I'm going to talk about. I just hadn't been inspired to open up my computer and type it up. But I have been listening to podcasts, but it's a great story.
Okay, well.
But I just can't make myself type.
I've got some good ones that are just real random and like crazy.
Good. So random month. This is exciting. Send us.
And we may have a guest on soon.
Yeah. He's pretty famous too.
Maybe.
He's a pretty famous.
And we may have another live show. I don't know, coming up maybe.
Yeah. Mike's trying to convince us to do another live show. And I'm not ready to commit yet.
August 27th, maybe.
He says it. Write it down in pencil.
Start saving your pennies.
Can erase it.
Start saving your pennies because we're charging for this one.
This one ain't free, bitches.
Yep. Nope. Gotta make some money so I can pay for this house. I don't know.
What? I thought Jordy Chad bought you the house on his VA loan, even though he was barely in the military.
Yeah, I wish.
Another lie.
He's retired, so, you know.
So, y'all, this is it. We will see y'all in 7 whole days next Thursday. Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Go give us some reviews. We love reading them. Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It's all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues on January 20th through the 22nd, 2023. Tickets are on sale now at roguecon23.com.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.